In the busy town of Ibadan lived a young man named Kelechi, handsome, ambitious, and restless, always dreaming of wealth big enough to silence his poverty forever. He grew up watching his mother, Mama Ifeoma, struggle to feed him after his father's death. She worked day and night washing clothes for others, saving every coin just to keep her only son in school. But Kelechi hated poverty more than he loved gratitude. Every time he saw rich men in sleek cars, something inside him burned. He wanted that life, not tomorrow, but now. His mother's words, "Patience brings peace, greed brings graves," always annoyed him. Until one evening he met Chief Madhu, a cunning businessman known for dark deals. Chief saw the hunger in Kelechi's eyes and whispered, "Do you want real money? The kind that never ends?" Kelechi hesitated, but his desire answered before his conscience could. Chief smiled and said, "You must offer something that truly belongs to you. Someone close, someone whose blood flows in your veins." Kelechi froze, realizing what that meant. But the thought of mansions, cars, and fame clouded his reason that night. He sat beside his mother as she prayed, her frail hands trembling as she thanked God for her son's future. And guilt stabbed him, but greed whispered louder. The next morning, he told her he wanted to take her to the village shrine to pray for blessings. She smiled innocently, never suspecting the devil had borrowed her son's smile. When they reached the forest, Kelechi handed her flowers and asked her to kneel. Tears filled her eyes as she prayed for him to become successful. While behind her, men Chief hired began to dig. The earth opened like a silent mouth waiting for sacrifice. Kelechi's heart pounded as sweat rolled down his face. His mother turned and asked softly, "My son, why are you shaking?" He looked away, unable to answer, and before she could stand, the men pushed her in. Her scream echoed through the forest. "Kelechi, my son, why?" But he covered his ears, crying, "Forgive me, Mama." As they buried her alive, silence returned, broken only by the sound of shovels covering sign. When it was done, Chief handed him a small black bag filled with gold. "You're rich now, boy," he said. Laughing as they left, Kelechi cried but convinced himself. It was the price of success. Weeks later, his luck changed. He bought a car, a mansion, and started a business that flourished like magic. People admired him. Girls adored him, and he forgot the smell of soil and the sound of his mother's voice. Every night he drank wine and told himself it was worth it. The strange things began to happen. His house lights flickered at midnight. The mirrors showed shadows moving behind him. And sometimes he heard a soft humming, the same lullaby his mother used to sing. He ignored it until one night he woke up to dirt footprints across his marble floor. He screamed, calling the guards, but they found nothing. The next morning, he saw wilted flowers on his doorstep, the same flowers he gave her before she died. Panic filled his chest. He went to Chief Madhu, who only laughed, saying, "The dead never sleep when love is betrayed." Those words haunted him, and guilt began to eat his soul piece by piece. But things were only beginning. One night, as thunder shook the sky, Kelechi woke to hear someone softly calling his name. "My son, my son." The voice was familiar yet distant, trembling. He grabbed a flashlight and followed the sound to his backyard. The air turned cold as mist rolled across the grass. And there, standing near a mound of soil, was a woman in a white wrapper. Her face half lit by the moon, her voice gentle but echoing. "Why did you do it, Kelechi?" His legs gave way, the flashlight dropped, and his body froze. It was Mama Ifeoma. Her eyes calm, not angry, only filled with sadness deeper than words. "Mama, it wasn't me." He stammered, but she said, "I prayed for your blessings, not your curse." Then turned to walk away. Her form fading like smoke, he ran toward her screaming, "Forgive me." But his hands touched nothing but wind. From that night, his wealth began to crumble. His cars crashed, his mansion caught fire mysteriously, and the people who once praised him vanished. Within months, he was left with nothing, sleeping on the floor of his burned home. Haunted by the ghost of love he betrayed, one dawn as the sun rose, he walked barefoot to the same forest where he buried her. The air smelled of wet earth and regret. He fell to his knees crying, "If I could give my life to bring you back, I would." And then something strange happened. The ground beneath him trembled. A voice whispered again, "Then live differently." He opened his eyes and saw an old woman walking toward him, carrying a basket of food. Her eyes, the same eyes as his mother's, soft and warm. She placed the basket beside him and said, "God gives second chances, but not to everyone." Before he could speak, she disappeared, leaving only the smell of palm oil and rice. Kelechi wept uncontrollably, realizing his mother's spirit had forgiven him. From that day on, he changed, sold his last possessions, and built a small orphanage in her name, the Ifioma Home for Lost Children. Every day he cooked for the children, told them stories about honesty, and prayed at sunset. People who once hated him now saw a man reborn. Though haunted by memory, he found peace in serving others. One evening, a little girl in the orphanage asked him, "Uncle, why do you always look at the sky?" He smiled and said, "Because sometimes love watches us from above." The girl hugged him and said, "Your mama must be proud." His eyes filled with tears as he whispered, "I hope so." And in that moment, a soft wind blew through the orphanage, carrying a familiar voice that whispered, "I am." Kelechi looked up, smiled, and for the first time felt truly rich, not with money, but with forgiveness, faith, and love that even the grave could not bury.